This place was one of the greatest racetracks in the early 1960s. In those days, they just called it Danville, the site of so much sports car racing right on the North Carolina-Virginia border. It wasn't even funny. The first pro to win here was Carroll Shelby. Times got tough, the place went fallow. It actually began operating as a farm until they reopened this place as Virginia International Raceway. Since then, virtually every racing series in North America has been here, except for one, because it's brand new. This is Viper Cup. Here we are in beautiful Alton, Virginia, Virginia International Raceway, a pastoral setting. We're in the heart of tobacco country here, and this racetrack has been thrilling fans and drivers alike for nearly 5 decades. 12 brand new Viper acr-x's make up the Viper Cup. Tom Nacho along with Rolf von Engelbrecht. And Rolf, this is a brand new era for Dodge and for Viper.
It's an amazing series. They've got 7,680 horsepower here, set to take a standing start at VIR. Just about enough horsepower to move the grid backwards.
Well, there are your starting drivers. Now, there was a technical anomaly in qualifying where the quickest 2 drivers actually went to the back of the grid, and you'll see them come up. You're going to want to keep your eyes on the cars of Ryan Shims. He'll come up next year, starting nearly at the back, and then the number 90 car, who will start at the true back. And that car, unfortunately, went from the first row all the way back to the back. Keith Verges in the number 90 car. Well, it's a standing start, and they're ready to go. When the lights go out, we're racing at Virginia International Raceway. This is the first ever Dodge Viper Cup, and we roll. Number 33 car of Ben Keating gets a good start, but so does the number 99 car. From a standing start, up over 100 miles an hour, down into the braking zone. Look at Sean Bailey in that red rodent track car in behind him. 1, 2, 3 as they round that big 180-degree bend, and now we're well and truly rolling. Ralph, everybody was worried about the standing start and whether these guys would actually get down to turn 1.
I think discretion was the better part of valor here. They're all thinking about the fact that this is the first race. No need to go out and bend everything up in the first go-around. But definitely Courtney looked in his mirrors when he saw Keating coming up the inside there.
Jeff Courtney, a professional driver from World Challenge on the Bob Woodhouse racing team, knows how to do the game. Second place, not such a bad place for him to watch what Keating does, certainly in the catbird seat, and he's got one wary eye on the very impressive Sean Bailey.
Yeah, Courtney's having a little fun there. He's got to look forward and backward at the same time, but definitely a good place to be when you're trying to learn the car, learn the track, and get this Viper sorted out.
Through the signature bends here at Virginia International Raceway for the very first time. That is Ben Keating in that wild paint color, or paint colors as I should say, as he rounds the signature turn here at Virginia International Raceway. That is Oak Tree. And then Rolf onto the 4,000-foot straightaway, which everybody seems to love here at this track.
Yeah, nothing like a little fun here. You open up the Viper, flat out, up the hills. This is an amazing feeling.
So now cresting the hill, we're over 160 miles an hour at this part of the track as we jump in with Jeff Courtney. Obviously braking very, very key here, and he's conservative on his braking going over the top of the hill. Now this downhill right-hander, very, very tricky as he gets it set up for the left. Still a very rhythmic type of track. Cars still going about 85, 90 miles an hour in this section, Rolf.
Yeah, it's a very hot day here, but certainly getting temperature into these Michelins is a little bit difficult. They're got a lap or 2 to try and figure this all out and get the tires working properly.
It's been a busy day. They've had 2 practice sessions and a qualifying session, and they've got a busy day tomorrow as well. After the first lap, there are your leaders, Keating, Courtney, Bailey, and then Ted Hughes, Jim Stout, and Keith Verges. Back here at Virginia International Raceway, this is Dodge Viper Cup. Let's go back to the start, Rolf von Engelbrechten, from the point of view of car number 67, Ryan Shims.
Ryan Shims proved himself to be very quick in qualifying and practice all day long, and look at that unbelievable start. He's just moving people aside. He took a little extra real estate there going up the grass on the left, but definitely a guy to watch in this race.
I think the only circumstance in which a chief steward wouldn't frown on you using the grass to gain a position would be during a standing start. I can't think of another reason.
Well, you're not supposed to go 4 wheels off and gain a position, but 2 wheels off with a little bit of a wider track area is not a bad thing. I don't think the stewards are going to get on him for that.
Look at the S's as we begin to build momentum here, and the number 33 car, that Ben Keating machine, seems to be very, very well suited here. Now, these are all identical cars. We talked about a technical anomaly. We're talking about a couple of millimeters in ride height. And you'd expect to see that as these teams just come up to speed with this brand new equipment. It's Dodge Viper acr-x based on the Dodge Viper ACR. And we'll tell you more and more about the content of this vehicle just as we go through the show. But speaking of show, it's showtime for Ben Keating in the first ever Dodge Viper Cup. He's got his own way and actually starting to drive away a little bit from the professional Jeff Courtney.
Jeff Courtney's doing a great job of conserving the car, at the same time looking in the mirrors and trying to chase down Keating. Keeping Keating honest is key here, but staying in second place is also what he's trying to do.
In car with Jeff Courtney as we ride up the back straightaway and take a look as the ever-decreasing size of the 33 car that presents itself to Courtney. Working the back of the course, down by the old hog barn. Remember, we said this racetrack actually went fallow for a little while and was an operating cattle farm and a hog farm as well, and we're in the site of that hog barn right now. Then back up onto the front straightaway. Still a long straightaway, but as we call straightaways with a bend in them, more or less straightaway. Speaking of in-car, we were in-car with you just a few weeks ago as you drove the Viper Cup car for the very first time, Ralph.
A rare invitation to drive a Dodge Viper acr-x. Thanks to Dodge and their incredible Viper and the new series, the Dodge Viper Cup, there's an incredible place to go and play. You want to do some racing, you want to show what you've got against other people with 640 horsepower, this is the place to do it. This series could use somebody like me. I think it was important to be able to see what these guys are up against with their 640 horsepower, 8.4 liter V10 Dodge Viper acr-x's, 605 foot-pounds of torque, enough to move large trees. These cars were incredible. We had cold Michelin tires on the day that I got to drive, but very, very impressed.
Back on track at Virginia International Raceway, this is the battle for third, involving Sean Bailey, and right there, the number 67 car of Ryan Shims. They're down on the front straightaway, nearly 160 miles an hour, and now things are starting to happen. Sean Bailey looks in his rearview mirror and says, you know what? I want no part of the battle for third. I'm here as a guest, and lets these other two guys go. Shims is absolutely on fire, going from nearly at the back of the pack, now challenging for third place, Rolf.
Ryan Shims is showing the pace that he showed earlier on today, and he's got the bit between his teeth absolutely here. He can see cars in front, and it's one of the nicest places to be when you're racing, is knowing you're in a quick car, you're a quick guy on the track, and you've got a guy in front that you can chase down. 3 or 4 different places around the track, you can see that Shims can look around the guy in front of him and absolutely see where the leaders are. So this is going to be fun to watch as they go bolting under the VIR bridge. Now going towards the signature Oak Tree turn. It's really started to heat up as Shims is taking a look down the inside, outside now. Yeah, a little bit of inside-outside there by Shims. I think he was trying to decide which way to go by. He definitely had a head of steam. It looked like he was going to get by.
Well, not quite around Ralph, but he does have an opportunity to pick up a draft on this 4,000-foot straightaway. All 3 cars there dropping a wheel off, and the draft is on.
Kicking up a little bit of dust on that corner. Oh, and there goes Ted Hughes on that same dirt that was just thrown up.
So you never know what you're going to find when you get to the other side of Oak Tree. Let me show you what happened in qualifying, and Ryan Shims found a little bit of trouble in Oak Tree. Pancake the right side of that. Here's another angle. You know, he's trying to stay engaged there, but he hit the broadside of that car, was able to continue and set his fast lap time after that incident. Ryan Shims is really something special. This young guy is a lot of fun to watch race a car.
The crew chief doesn't mind when you bring it back with something that's buffable, but definitely you don't want to put it off any harder than that at this track.
Great paint job on that car as well, sort of a camouflage motif, as the Viper Cup guys have come to race and come to look good as well. There's your front five, still in sight of each other, so this is by no means a runaway. We've got a great mix of drivers, we've got a car dealer, we've got a professional racer, and we've got a brand new kid in the scene, all of them making a big difference here in Dodge Viper Cup.
You've got drivers here, once they put on the suit and the helmet, they're all racers, they all want to go hard, and Ryan Shims is proving that today.
Of course, all of these events are sanctioned by Viper Days. The whole idea behind Viper Days when it started out was to get Dodge Viper owners off the street and onto the track. And then once you get onto the track, most people want to go a little bit further through driver education, Rolf, and then actually end up in something like the Viper Racing League, and every new Viper seems to be more suited for the track than the last. 640 horsepower. Ryan Shims goes down the inside. We have the in-car camera looking backwards now. He just absolutely goes blinding around the outside of that driver, and then for good measure kicks up a little bit more dust in his face.
Sometimes you want to make sure that they're aware that you just drove by them. A little bit of dirt in the face is a good thing.
There's your leaders. We'll be back in a few moments.